Welcome back to the county seat. Our topic today is the Community Impact Board. And we have looked at the benefits in following a project with our story with Dan Pope in the previous segment. Now we're going to talk a little bit with some of the people who are involved. Our panel today is Commissioner Doug Heaton from Kane County, the chairman of the Community Impact Board, Gordon Walker, and Commissioner Mike McKee from Uintah County. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I guess I'll toss this out just to any one of you, but maybe it's more appropriate for Gordon. How did this board come about? Do you know?
Well, the board was set up and actually consists of local elected officials and officials from other boards to administer mineral lease funds. When oil well is drilled on federal ground, they pay a royalty to the federal government, and half of that money comes back to the state of Utah, and then part of that money, part of it goes to the counties directly, and about a third of it comes to the Community Impact Board. And the purpose of the money is to lessen the impacts that are caused in the general areas where the minerals are extracted. This would be coal, gas, oil, anything that is on federal ground.
So, and that applies to any of the extractive industries, but they don't. Some areas are more rich in developing those royalties, like a gravel pit in Tooele is a mineral extraction. There may be some leases there, but it doesn't generate very much revenue.
Well, and actually a gravel pit would not qualify in this.
Wouldn't even qualify.
No, it's not participating. The Kennecott ground is not participating. This really, for the most part, are coal mines, heavily in Carbon and Emery County, gas and oil in the Uintah Basin, as well as other parts of the state that are participating.
So if we're to understand it correctly, it's more of an energy-related royalty.
It's pretty much energy-related.
So, Mike, as a member of the board, how does this thing work?
Well, you know, that's a kind of a broad question, but essentially what happens is communities that have interest in projects, and there's a lot of really good projects, but communities have certain needs, you know, whether it be fire, water, sewer, roads, some recreational projects from time to time. But a community will come forward and they make application to the Community Impact Board, and so there's, you know, quite a lot of criteria that's reviewed and looked at. But then the community has an opportunity to come before the board and to look at generally, and generally these are a combination of grant and loans that are awarded to the communities for these different type of projects.
What's the difference between the two? I mean, the grant and obviously the loans you have to pay back, but how is a CIB loan different than, say, going to a commercial lender?
Well, one of the things that's a big difference is a lot of that money is 0% interest, and most of these loans are 20 to 30-year loans. We do have some loans that are in 2.5% interest because it's a different pot of money that's coming from on what we call the bonus fund. But even at the 2.5%, very attractive rates.
So when a county, like you have coal mines in Kane County, probably right near your house, although some people would have you believe that they're over at Bryce Canyon. But,
yeah, that's true.
When you know, what kinds of things has Kane County approached the CIB about before in the past?
Well, the nice thing about the CIB for a rural county, and maybe this is not what you're looking for, but in a real urban county, you'll have 1 million people to help you pay for an infrastructure, whereas in a real urban county.
Mm-hmm. In a rural county.
Right, in a real rural county,
yeah,
you might only have 1,000 people to help pay for the same infrastructure. So per capita, that would be 1,000 times more per capita, or 100 times, you know, 1,000 times more in order to get the same service that you would have in an urban county, and so it actually makes things possible in rural counties that would otherwise not be possible.
So things like maintaining the road access to Highway 89 for the Alton Coal Project would be the sort of thing that you would do?
Yeah, those kinds of things, or perhaps I think the CIB assisted us in our new safety facility to the tune of a lot of money, at an interest rate that was better than we could get in the private sector. So it allows the government, the local government, to do things that we couldn't otherwise do.
Is it tough making the decisions?
You know, some of them are really difficult. Some of them aren't really too difficult. There's a lot of really good projects, and I think on any board you kind of get a type of a culture. So there's different types of projects. For example, water and sewer projects. There's what's known as the MAGI, the medium adjusted gross income, and there's a target number that the staff has put together that we review, and if it falls within certain guidelines in there, it helps guide us anyway. So a lot of these decisions are, you know, I don't know any of them's clear cut, but there's some parameters that we follow, and there's flexibility.
Gordon, how many different areas do you set up, you know, these kind of guidelines or benchmarks?
We have a few guidelines that we work on. We're primarily most interested to make sure that living conditions in rural areas are where they have great water, where there's sewer systems, and not all communities have had that. And when an emergency arises, like too much arsenic in the water, we've been able to step in and help communities that weren't really producing communities, but rather they had a need. And so we're able to help communities that just can't do it.
So part of the criteria, if I understand you correctly, is that, you know, not only is it to divvy up monies from counties that are generating the revenue, but if a community has an impact from the different, like the arsenic in the water, that would be a situation, you know, if there were, a scenario might be, if in Emery County on the border there was a mine, arsenic got in the water that actually happened in Wayne County next door, that Wayne County might be able to get some help from it?
They could get help, but a more specific example, not that it's directly from the mine itself, but in Juab County there were several areas where they had arsenic in the water, and they just needed some help so that they had clean drinking water. We feel that it's very important that all residents of the state of Utah have good basic services. And the communities, as the commissioner indicated, don't all have the funds to do that. And the Community Impact Board is there to help people have a good life.
That's very good. Are there, yes, Doug, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, and for people like me who are very conservative, the revenue from this, for this program doesn't come from taxes. It comes from the sale of a product, and it's the sale of a natural resource to which the state has a legitimate claim, and so it's not like the money is not coming from a tax that was levied on someone somewhere that is now diverted to another use to another county. It stays within principle for me.
So basically it's kind of a win-win situation.
Yes.
We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, I'd like to ask about the detractors, because I'm sure that anytime there is a beneficent type organization that's helping communities, there are going to be other people who are saying this shouldn't exist, and maybe we'll find out about some of the other areas in the decision making. We'll be back with more of The County Seat. We're glad you're following along with us today on this Sunday morning. We're talking about Community Impact Board, its impacts on the communities, and we will continue our discussion right after this commercial break right here on ABC4.
Rediscover your sense of adventure. Welcome to San Juan County. Discover the past. A change of place. Utah, San Juan County, where life is elevated.
Ever wanted to go on a vacation to Mars? What about a visit to the Old West? Impossible, right? Well, forget what you think is real. In southern Utah's Kane County, other worlds are just an ATV ride away. The Old West lives on in every sunset. From the downtown streets of Little Hollywood to the vistas that have inspired the world. Never find yourself closer to home and yet farther than you've ever been. Southern Utah's Kane County, where anywhere is possible.
Along Interstate 70 and Highway 89 is an area that is rich with high mountain peaks, vast forests, lakes, streams, historical sites, and a climate that is perfect for outdoor adventures, no matter what the season. Whether you visit Sevier County to catch one of the many celebrations, experience a country-style county fair, or be part of various concerts, sports, or equestrian events, you will be greeted by local residents with a smile and a welcoming hand. In the center of it all, Sevier County.